back to another episode of Coffee Run. It's great to be back for another week, episode 4 we're up to. So we're kicking off the run in Abbotsford on Johnston Street, like we usually do. And the cafe that we're going to today is called Assembly, and it's in Carlton. So we're venturing to Carlton for the first time in this series, so that's a new one. And I remember to say the name of the cafe at the start of the video. Last week I forgot, so I'm learning. So we're heading towards Hoddle Street and I'm going to turn left. This is also the first time that I've run alongside Hoddle Street in this series. Usually I just cross over it, which you might have seen in other episodes. But you can see just how busy this road can get. I think it was just past the morning peak, so the traffic has died down a little bit, but it's still pretty busy. And this is also another major bus route. There's a few bus lines down here. Shout out to the 905 to the Pine Shopping Centre. That's a classic one. Yeah, you can see the bus lanes there in the red. On the furthest left lane is usually the bus lane. And there's particular times where it is the bus lane, but other times that you can park in it, like that card there. It's usually the morning peak where it has to be clear, so the buses come off the freeway, or most of them come off the freeway and then go straight down Hoddle Street. So we're approaching that bridge there, and we're going to go over that bridge. It's a pretty nice one. It's a nice one to run over, like last week, the one over the freeway into Clifton Hill. It's a similar style to that. I think these types of bridges were built around a similar time. They're kind of giving 80s vibes, very like basic in their design. But this is really just to avoid having to cross at the traffic lights. I think there's traffic lights right below it, but it's a bit nicer going over the road as well. You can see down to the cars as well, and amongst the trees. As we come down onto this side of Hoddle Street, we've now crossed into Collingwood. So Hoddle Street is the border of a few suburbs, but in this area it separates Abbotsford and Collingwood. So on the right is a school, Collingwood College, and you can see on the left there where the big clock tower is, that's the Collingwood Town Hall, which is actually in Abbotsford. There's some weird named things around here. I don't know if it used to be like this general area which is called Collingwood, or it was part of the council area was called Collingwood, but there's the Town Hall, Collingwood Station and Collingwood Leisure Centre aren't actually in the suburbs of Collingwood, which is interesting. I'm listening to music on this run. Again, we're back on the music, and I'm listening to an Aussie artist called Stella Donnelly, who I saw perform live at a there's a community footy game. It's called the Reclink Cup, which if you haven't heard of, it's a fundraiser that combines AFL footy and music. So there's two teams, the Rock Dogs, which are made up of local musicians, and then the Megahertz, which is made up of people who work at Triple R and PBS Radio. So before the game, there are a few artists that performed, and Stella Donnelly was one, who I've heard of before, but haven't really gotten into her music. But since I saw her live, I saw how good she was, and I've listened to her music, and it's pretty incredible. Like, her vocals are really good. There's a song on her latest album, which came out last year in 2025, called Baths, which really shows how good her vocals are. It's essentially just her singing, and there's just this gentle hum in the background. It's a really good one. I would recommend that. And there's another song called Boys Will Be Boys, which is like a very haunting, emotional, and really powerful song. It's a really good one to listen to. I recommend that as well. As we turn onto Langridge Street. So this road it's a pretty unique one, which I only realised the other day. So Langridge Street turns into Gertrude Street. So it's essentially all the same road. And both these two roads start and end at a road of the same name. So Langridge Street intersects with Nicholson Street in Abbotsford in the east. Then the end of Gertrude Street intersects with Nicholson Street in Carlton towards the west, which I don't know if there's many other roads that are like that. So that's a little fun fact about Langridge and Gertrude Streets. And this street is, particularly Gertrude Street, has a lot of cafes and restaurants. So it's a pretty popular area. Having to be careful about going around people. Sometimes people walk kind of closer to the middle, so you can't really overtake them. So yeah, sometimes I just go onto the road to go around them. And also, don't want to scare them as well. I think I could say something, but I feel like when you say something, they might not take that well, or even just get scared by you talking. So I'd rather just take it wider, go onto the road, there's no cars, just to be safe. It doesn't really look like it on camera, but it was a really weirdly warm winter day here in Melbourne. It was like 18 degrees. There was not really much sun, but it was quite warm. So it was definitely short sleeves weather today, which is a change up from last week's cold and fog, which is always nice, especially during this time of the year. You can see that sign there for City Saints, which was the first cafe I went to in the first episode of this series. Which was down that little laneway there. As we cross over Wellington Street, one of our favourite streets, if you're familiar with the other videos in this series. Some of these bluestone, like where you cross the roads, the bluestone gutters, or sometimes the whole part of the road is bluestone. You have to be careful when you're walking or running over it, because it's usually pretty unstable or not level. So you got to watch out for your your ankles. Yeah, there were a few times where I nearly rolled an ankle today because, yeah, not always looking down on the ground to watch where you're going. So you can see in the distance there the tram going around the bend. So that's the number 86 that goes from Docklands and ends at Bundoora, I think where the RMIT, where the university is. So this is Smith Street, and yeah, you can see the bend where the trams turn onto Gertrude Street. So this is also where Langridge turns into Gertrude, and also where we cross into Fitzroy. So a lot happens on this intersection there. So this part definitely gets busier. Yeah, you'll see a few cafes where people are sitting out the front or coming out of the shops and things like that. This guy was coming out of that cafe and saw me coming, so he just stepped back, which was nice. And when you're crossing over those little roads like that, you have to make sure that the cars are actually going to stop for you, because I don't think pedestrians have the right of way, but it's just nice, just when you see someone who's waiting to cross, you just let them go. But yeah, you've got to be careful. So we cross over Napier Street. So coming up to Brunswick Street, we're going to cross over there. So that's the main road through Fitzroy. The speed limits around these streets are, most of them are 30, which is different to other areas. Most back streets in Melbourne are 50 or also becoming 40. So when you're driving, it feels so slow. It's almost better just to walk down these streets or to run, honestly. So we're crossing over Brunswick Street. To the left, you get a nice view of St. Patrick's Cathedral, which is at the end of Brunswick Street here, is Victoria Street. So it's a nice view as you're coming down that road there. And this was a busy cafe called Sonito, which I've been there once, and it's pretty good coffee. And this one here is very busy on weekends, called Morning Market. And on weekends, and even you could see there, it gets very busy. I think it's like a bakery. They make nice pastries and stuff. So this is the part where there's a lot of restaurants. um, yeah, which would get very busy. I went to that cafe just before the Sonido, before I went to the Makers Market that was at the Royal Exhibition Building. I think it was a few weeks ago now. Yeah, so at you'll see it's coming up, huge historic building where there's usually markets and events and a range of different things that happen in that building. At this set of traffic lights, we timed it perfectly. So it turned green as I was approaching and I could just go straight through as we cross over Nicholson Street. And crossing over Nicholson Street also means that we're now in Carlton. And this is the Carlton Gardens. So on the left are the gardens, and on the right you can see the Royal Exhibition Building. And this place is so nice, really good to run in, nice to visit as well. If you're visiting Melbourne, this would be a good place to come and see. Yeah, the building. During COVID, they had it was a vaccination site, so I went there twice to get vaccinated, and then got a Cocoa Pops Golden Gay Time ice cream after one of them, which was a nice touch. But it was kind of melted. I think it was sitting in an esky for a while, but it was okay. And here, turn around, have a look at the view, the city and the fountain, just admiring the view. Yeah, so towards the left, if you go through the gardens, you're essentially at the top of the CBD, Victoria Street. This is also the first time that in this series that we're running in the city of Melbourne, so a different council area. Usually we just run in the city of Yarra, which is Collingwood, Fitzroy and Clifton Hill. So it's a different local council area, which you can kind of just tell by the difference in the logo on the bins around and on the street signs as well. There's not really too much of a difference. So we're approaching the Melbourne Museum, and there was a lot happening here. There was a few primary school groups must be going to an event or something that's happening at the museum. And as I was going past, I heard a kid say, "Bro's running with a camera," which, yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. Because I don't know, as you're running with it, most people don't really notice. They're kind of either on their phones or in their own world. Every so often you get someone who kind of looks at it, but yeah, I guess I guess it's a bit of a weird sight seeing someone running with a camera, but yeah, it's not really hurting anyone, so it's fine. So we're going to turn left here and head towards the cafe. We're pretty close to it now. Assembly in Carlton. So we're going to cross over. This is Rathdown Street. There's not a great crossing area, so it was pretty quiet, so I just crossed over in a random spot to go down to Pelham Street, and this is where the cafe is. So this is just further down is Lygon Street, which we're not going to go onto there because the cafe is before that. But Lygon Street is another very busy road with a lot of restaurants. Particularly at night, it gets pretty busy. People also doing laps of the road in their cars, in their hodded up cars or whatever, trying to impress people walking on the streets, which, yeah, is funny to see. They were doing some of the street sweeping here, so it got pretty loud with that, but yeah, you can see all the leaves before in the gutters. So we're very close to the cafe now. You can see it there coming up. And here it is, Assembly on the right. There we are, Assembly in Carlton. It was pretty good, very relaxed vibe in there. The people working there were very nice, which yeah, is great, always a nice thing. The drop, as usual, like we always do, is an almond latte, and it was a pretty good one. Great temperature, great taste. I think I'd go back again. And thanks for joining me.